The House of Representatives resumed its scrutiny of the proposed national budget for 2016, tackling the allocation set for state universities and colleges. Appearing before the House Appropriations Committee was Chairperson Patricia Licuanan of the Commission on Higher Education. Again, Freddie Abando reports.
The budget hearings for the Commission on Higher Education was rocked by protests from militant students pushing for a bigger budget allocation for tertiary education for 2016. In today's hearings, conducted by the House Appropriations Committee chaired by Congressman Isidro Ungab, focus was given to the full implementation of the K-12 program in 2016, which will displace teaching and non-teaching personnel in state colleges and universities at higher educational institutions. ACT Party List Congressman Antonio Tino raised the issue of funding to address how displacement will be addressed. 8.2 billion pesos has been allocated to be utilized for scholarships, faculty and development grants, and innovation grants for higher educational institutions. Tino raised exemption in granting funding grants. Secretary Patricia Licuanan assured the implementation of the transition fund will be transparent and accountable.
I am advocating, Madam Chair, that this transition fund, as you know, to provide further context, the idea of the transition fund came about in response to the concerns, the displacement, yung tanggalan, no, ng libo-libong mga faculty at empleyado, lalo na sa mga private higher education institutions sa period ng transition sa K-12. So ang proposal ng administrasyon ay maglalagay daw ng pondo para masalo yung mga maapektuhan, no? Ngayon ang posisyon ko po rito ay kailangang gamitin ng anumang pondo ng gobyerno bilang incentive para panatiliin ng mga institusyon ang kanilang personnel, no? At hindi dapat ang anumang pondo ng gobyerno bilang incentive para magtanggal sila o magbawas.
Congressman Rufus Rodriguez pushed for the restoration of 328 million pesos for the Tulong Dunong program provided for students from marginalized sectors to enroll in college. The budget of 1.3 billion pesos for 2015 has been reduced to 985 million pesos for 2016. Rodriguez cited the Aquino administration scholarship program, which has benefited close to 400,000 scholars all over the country since 2010.
That certainly gives education and our young people who will finish through this grants and aid, they will be the engine of national growth of the Philippines. And so that is very clear as far as access is concerned. It has really increased all of the scholarship, grants and aid, and other aids for poverty alleviation.
However, Kabataan Party List Congressman Terry Ridon questioned the Tulong Dunong program as sport, since every member of Congress submits a list of scholars to be funded by the program. Licuanan assured equal allocation for all members with no favoritism. Ridon demanded full disclosure of how the Tulong Dunong program has been implemented for the past 5 years.
Is this mechanism of nomination not compromising what ought to be undertaken really under the Tulong Dunong program, particularly to have a merits-based scholarship or a needs-based scholarship that is really dependent on what each and every student applicant ought to receive?
Well, I don't think so. First of all, we have the merit-based, which is scholarships, and that's very clear about requirements of grades and so forth. Then we have the needs-based, and so the requirements there are also peculiar to needs. No? So there is need to show that they are in fact deserving based on need. And so that's very clear in our guidelines. And so I guess as long as we are able to stick to the guidelines, I believe that poor young Filipinos are benefiting from this.
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.